Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name's Bobby Waldron. In this video we're going to have a nice inbox review of Freedom Models X-47B. Now Freedom Models is a very new manufacturer. In fact, this is their very first model kit that they've done, so it's nice to see a new kid on the block. And as you can see, nice bunch of artwork going on here, and you know, it is an aircraft that is, you know, in the test phase and everything, so quite exciting in that respect as well. We've got a bit going around the side of the box here where it shows a few pictures. We got a bit of photo etching there, looks like some nice decals going on as well. It's 1/48 scale. And looking rather nice. So let's just quickly open up the box and see what we get in here before you know, I open it up and we have a right good look. First off, we have first bag. Seems like good quality packaging to stop the scratching, and we've got our first big piece here, which is at the top of our fuselage section, and that's looking rather nicely packaged. Again, one bag, one sprue, which is rather nice, and this is the lower hull of it, so yeah, that is looking good as well. What else do we have here? We've got two sprues in here to one bag, and it looks like we've got weapons, wheels, bits of engines and landing gear and all our little bits. We then have another bag here with two sprues in, and this has got stuff like wings, looks like the spine of the fuselage section, flaps and all that kind of stuff. Rather nice, good packaging actually. We move along the decals. They're nicely packaged in their own little bag as well, so you know, nice packaging there. We also get what looks like to be a nice glossy high quality bit of paper here, which shows all our markings and where all our decals go. It's got colour callouts as well. Doesn't really say what type of paints, but still we've got like some colour callouts going on there. And then we have the instructions, and the instructions are like your sort of Hasegawa and Tamiya instructions, where it all folds out into one big long piece of paper rather than like a booklet. I do prefer the booklets, but you know, we'll have a closer look. And then we have a nice bit of photo etch just in here, separately bagged, in fact nicely packaged actually. This is quite a thick sort of resealable bag, so that is rather nice, but we'll have a closer look at them later. So let's start off with the instructions. Now with the instructions, you know, we do have, I think it's probably Japanese or Chinese on here, but you know, we've got this nice sort of fold out that you kind of normally get with those kind of Japanese and Chinese type companies. The paint callouts are for the Mr. Colour range, just down here, which is nice to let us know the colours, but I mean, again, when it comes to whatever colours you want to use, I'll just go for whatever's the best match. It doesn't matter what the manufacturer is. Starting off now, we don't start off with a cockpit because this doesn't have a cockpit, it's a drone. We move straight into the landing gear, which, you know, the landing gear does look rather nice, does look like there's a lot of detail going to be going in there. There's bits of photo etch going in there as well, and the instructions do seem to, you know, explain it quite clearly. And moving along, we do have air brakes, open or closed, which is a nice little touch. As for the fuselage section, I mean, it literally is, I mean, we make our air intake, engine exhaust, stick it in the middle of two fuselage half sections, and there you go. Nice and easy really. And then we've got on the underside, yes, we can have movable flaps and stuff, which is rather cool to have. Turning this over, you know, the wheel well doors, I mean, normally these little hinges are already moulded on there, but with this one you have to glue them on, which if you decide to have your landing gear up, it means you haven't got to cut them all off like you would normally, but if you want the landing gear down, you know, you're gonna have to glue them all on and make sure they're all numbered up right and everything. So could be a bit tedious, but it has that advantage if you want to go landing gear up. We've got some nice Bombays with some nice bombs to go in there. We also have the wing section, which is a nice option to have it wings folded or wings open, which again adds nicely to our options. So looks like it's going to go together quite nicely with nice options, and the instructions seems to get us there quite nicely. Then we move along to these decals, nicely packaged. It doesn't say who they're made by, it just has Freedom Models at the bottom, so I'm presuming that these are their decals that they've maybe made themselves. They're very kind of glossy decals, hopefully, as you can see with the shininess. They do look, shall we say, nicely in registry. The smaller writing is, if you've got a magnifying glass on that, it would look a little bit blurred, but you know what, they look pretty good. Now they do feel and have that kind of feeling of being those typical Tamiya Hasegawa type decals, so you're probably going to be wanting to use micro Mr. Mark softener and set. Then we have this nice glossy paper which shows, you know, where all our decals are going to go, and the markings and colour schemes and everything. We've only got two markings here, the CVW9 and the VX9 as well, so looking quite good there. So let's get started with the plastic. Now the first piece of plastic, we have got the top hull section. Right, it's one big piece on one big sprue here to bring you in. Hopefully we can sort of get a look at what this detail's going to be like. Now if you feel it, it does feel smooth, but it does have a very kind of light tinge of being a little bit rough. Now when I say rough, you know, don't worry, you haven't got to sand this all down. It just has that little light feel of it, but I mean, once we put a primer on and stuff, it should look rather good. Then we have our recessed panel lines and recessed rivets going on with this kit. They are deep enough to take a wash, but not too deep. They look a bit out of scale. The recessed rivets are also looking rather nice there as well. There is a strange bit going on here. Just see this little mark there? Well, what that looks like is our ejector pin mark on this side has maybe been pushed through, maybe a bit too hard or something, and it's sort of marked it here. Now all I'm kind of feeling really is maybe this recessed panel line here could do with like rescribing out a bit, but once we sprayed over that, that should be fine, because it's not feeling or looking like it's warped or a lump. Just that recessed panel line may need a bit of a rescribe just there, but actually looking rather good. Moving along now to the bottom hull, as you can see here, again a nice big piece going on. Nothing to report on that side, but again we've got all this nice detail work. As you can see, all this recessed panel lines inside the bomb bays and wheel bays. You know, we've got some nice detail going on inside there, but if you kind of look up at the walls, I mean, maybe you could do with a bit of sprucing up there if you wanted to. And again, actually we've got this sort of marks here from the ejector pin marks, like they've been pushed out a bit too hard or something, and they've made a mark. Again, yes, two ejector pin marks there. Now again, you know, you can see the mark on the plastic, but I'm looking at it, I'm not seeing any warping, I'm feeling it. It's not, it doesn't seem to be affecting it. It's just you know, you can see it while there's no paint on it, but if by the feel of it, once you get the paint on there, you should be okay. Little tiny bit of flash going on just there, but I mean, you know, it's not too bad. Now remember, this is a brand new tool, a brand new kit. And then we come along to one of our sprues, which has got all our bits and bobs on here, wheels, we've got some bombs, air intakes and all those kind of things. So let's have a close look. Right, the wheels, they're looking rather nice. The air intakes and the exhausts, you know, they're looking quite well detailed as well. We've got these new tooled bombs as well. They're looking rather nice. We've got some more wheels here. And as we move around, I think we've got some like hinges here, but we've got some sink marks going on. Can you just see in there? We've got these little kind of holes. Those are those sink marks which we don't like to see. However, I think the way this is going to glue on there, we're going to end up covering up these sink marks, but still sink marks. And moving along, we've got all our hinges here, which do look rather nicely detailed as we go around. Now we turn this over, let's see what kind of ejector pin mark problems we might have. Yes, we've got on the hinges here, we've got ejector pin marks, one on each one of them. Moving along, the hinges look good. And actually that sprue looks good, shouldn't really have any problems there. Then we come to our other little sprue of bits and bobs, which has got landing gear and all sorts of bits and bobs here and there. So bringing you in, we've got some sort of hinges, we've got our landing gear here, which does look rather nicely detailed, hopefully, as you can see just there. Although it looks like we have another sink mark just there. Right, but I mean, you know, hopefully we can sort of get away with that. A little bit of flash as well going on. Moving around, we've got all these, again, some little sink marks. We do seem to have these sink marks kind of cropping up here and there, which, you know, we can fill them in and sand them out, so it's no big problem. And some of the sink marks, I mean, you're probably not going to see anyway. But then if we turn this over, ejector pin marks we have just here on our landing gear, and then just here as well we have this weird sort of ejector pin mark just there. I'm pretty sure it's an ejector pin mark because this one doesn't have it this side, and this side's where all the ejector pin marks are, and it seems to be just on there like that. But still not too bad actually for a new company and a new build. Moving along, we have our sort of wing sections, and we've got like our air intake and exhaust bit here, which you know, does feel quite nice and smooth inside. But we do have these little kind of rectangular kind of like ejector pin marks, but they're rectangular. I mean, I don't know if that's like actual details, so I mean, whether we leave it or we sand it out, not quite sure. I'll have to do some research on that, but looking quite nice and smooth. We do have our wheel bay doors and everything going on here. No ejector pin marks in there, which is rather nice. Same goes for these ones as well, so that's good. And then the wing sections, you know, there isn't much detail, I do believe, on the actual aircraft, so there is quite a lot of flat spots which we're seeing here, but I mean, where there is detail, we've got nice recessed panel lines and nice recessed rivets. And then finally our last sprue, this is, I do believe, the top of the wing section maybe, or the bottom, don't quote me on that, but you know, we've got some nice detail going on here. And inside here we have where our air brakes are, and it's quite nice to see when they do recess rivets of different sizes. I mean, inside this air brake we have bigger recesses than what's on the top of the surface detail, so you know, that is good to see. Then we have some nice raised detail here for the engine exhaust, and bits of the air intake going on in here, which looks rather good as well. So you know, those are all the sprues. Oh no, we've got one more little bit. We do get some nice bit of photo etch with this, which is rather good. It feels nice and thin. It's not the thick stuff, which is just an absolute nightmare. You want it to be nice and thin. And we've got all sorts of bits of landing gear, and I think we've got I can't remember what it was for, but you know, it's a nice little touch to have that bit of photo etch in there. So looking at this kit and giving it a final score, I've decided to give it a final score of 8.5. Now 8.5 here at Genesis Models is in the above average bracket, you know, and a couple of points and it would have hit the sort of excellence if it hit 9. So, you know, a really good score actually. There was a few little issues, as you could see, a few kind of sink marks, ejector pin marks, a tiny bit of flash, nothing really to write home about. No real warp marks. The surface detail was good. So yeah, it is an all-round good kit. It also looks like a good kit for a beginner as well, because without the cockpit, you know, it does look like a very simple build. So for anyone who's new to the hobby, you know, you might want to have a go at this kit, because as I say, there isn't much to it when you kind of remove the cockpit and the canopy and stuff. So, you know, you haven't got to mess around with polishing up canopies and masking up canopies. You know, you can sort of, you know, have a nice, easy build. And what I love about this is, let's face it, I mean, this is a company that is new. It's brought out its first model, and you know, that's what we want to see. We don't want to see companies going down. We want to see new ones coming out, because it's showing that the whole hobby's growing nicely. So it's good to see that, and I think we should support them by literally going out and buying this kit, because I don't think you'd be disappointed with it. As for fit, I don't know how well the fit's going to be. I mean, I don't think many people have built this yet, so there's not much out there on the internet, but you know, looking at it, it shouldn't be too hard to do. So that's a nice 8.5. Now the cost of this kit is RRP'd at £39.99, which I don't think we're getting a bargain with this kit, and I don't think we're kind of getting overpriced, but we're sort it's sort of going on sort of like the fair, but almost kind of going a bit overpriced, I think, because I mean really, I mean, it is a drone, so you don't get the cockpit, as I say, but then, you know what, it is quite a big kit. I mean, really, it's quite a big aircraft, really. I mean, there's like the fuselage. I mean, you know, that is quite a nice size, so you are getting quite a bit of plastic for your money. And what I also love about this is that it's the only kit out there that is an X-47B, you know, a nice modern futuristic looking drone. So it is nice for them to go off and for their first build pick something that isn't actually out there. So rather good for Freedom Models there. Definitely a recommended kit. I mean, we're talking something like a beginner to intermediate kind of level. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully I've wet your lips on whether to get this kit or not. I do recommend it. So until the next inbox review or whatever video I do, my name is Bob Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed.